Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be listening to us today. You got your ears tuned into the Caps Locks and Chair Shots podcast. We are on episode 13. We are missing one of our four panelists today, but don't worry. The other three of us will make up for it. Joining us today is the muscle of the podcast. He is a future MMA man and hopeful voice of the Philippines, the one, the only, the Jaime. Say hi to the people, Jaime.
This is our show. This is our time. So what are we waiting for? Let's talk about wrestling.
And the other voice you are going to hear is my arch nemesis. The Cain to my Abel, a brother who I thought I shared a common interest with, who turns out to be the one man I want dead. He is my enemy, the man that I can't stand. He is the real Danny D, Dan Dorrit.
What's up, everybody? Let's get this show on the road.
All right, let's start with Monday Night Raw. Anybody want to tell me their feelings on it? Jaime, how did you feel about the premiere show for the WWE?
Mixed. Sort of mixed.
Okay. Dan?
It was just another Raw. Hopefully Go Home's better this week coming up.
Okay, no, you can't say it was just another Raw because we were graced with the terribleness that was the Ball family. It was bad.
Yeah.
Like, it was terrible. Am I the only one that disagrees with that?
Yeah, it is. Even Lonzo and, what's his name? The youngest guy. Even those two guys found her that too weird.
Yeah, that is true. We also... Is the Miz Taraj a thing now? Is that a thing?
I think it is.
Should it be, is a better question.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. Those guys are so far buried down the rabbit hole that they're not coming back.
I like that we're using rabbit hole as an everyday thing now in this podcast. Anyway, let's talk about the card for Monday Night Raw. We had Finn and the Hardys defeat Sheamus, Cesaro, and Elias Sampson in an all-indie orgy fest for everybody that hates the WWE. That was a match for them. Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, and The Miz defeated Rhino, Heath Slater, and Dean Ambrose because they had to get on TV somehow. Kurt Hawkins continued to make Seth Rollins a star.
Yeah.
I have no idea who Lince Dorado is, but Neville beat him. Made him tap out, actually. And then the thing that I'm kind of digging right now, and y'all know I've been pretty hard on women's wrestling, and Dan, I know you said you wanted to talk about it this week. Sasha Banks defeated Nia Jax in the finals of a gauntlet match to become #1 contender and face Alexa Bliss. Dan, tell me about that match.
Man, I just think women's wrestling in all is probably the top thing that we should be talking about this week. It was a great match. They did this. It is amazing what these women are doing. It's been some of the best wrestling that I've seen in the past couple of weeks between Raw and SmackDown both. They're really working it, and they're really getting the time.
What about the match on NXT?
That's another one too. That's another one that we definitely need to talk about today. Is the Asuka Rosemary match? It was another amazing match. Women's wrestling is really coming around, and we should all be looking forward to it and embracing it.
Absolutely. Jaime, how do you feel about Sasha being the #1 contender? Is she the right choice? Should it have gone to Nia Jax?
Yeah, she's the right choice because Nia Jax at the moment deserves to be... No, not really deserves to be, but Nia Jax at the moment must act as the division's enforcer as to how Tamina is on SmackDown Live. So, right now, maybe in the future, Nia Jax will have her time, but right now, Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss promise a better build-up than Alexa Bliss versus Bayley.
Okay, now let's. This is something new I want to do for this week. The two lines of the night. from Monday night, the line of the night that was chosen was, "Oh, so you're going to unleash all the balls on me." The Miz speaking to the eldest Ball, LeVar Ball. On SmackDown it was, "As long as you understand that you are Ron Burgundy's definition of San Diego." AJ talking to Kevin Owens. He basically got called the whale's vagina on national television. That takes it, right? That's the best line.
That's gotta take it, especially because I really don't think Owens understood what he meant. Because then when he goes on Talking Smack, he's like, "Oh, and you thought that was funny, Daniel? I finally understand what that means."
I still think it was just the greatest thing I've ever heard. Let's talk about SmackDown. We have to talk about the main event. And if Dan, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm 2 for 2 when it comes to calling this stuff. I called Ellsworth getting kicked out. I said he wasn't done and he'd be back, and I said Carmella was still gonna win the match. I don't know
what's scarier, you calling this stuff and being right, or the fact that you openly admitted this week that you're starting to enjoy indie wrestling.
What did I tell you? Am I gonna have to Russo you? Am I?
We'll get into that later.
Oh my God! Yeah, we definitely will. You loudmouth piece of garbage. Anyway, let's talk about that Money in the Bank match. Carmella won. She still missed Money in the Bank.
Thank God.
Jaime, is that the right choice?
Yes, I already said before the Money in the Bank pay-per-view itself that Money in the Bank briefcase suits Carmella the most. The thing about the redo we had on SmackDown Live this week is that it had a better ending, the match itself was better, and James Ellsworth was not a factor at all. He was a nuisance, but he wasn't a factor at all. Carmella won on her own terms.
Yeah, but can we agree that seeing James Ellsworth literally getting carried out by 5 people, kicking and screaming, was a highlight of the show?
Yeah.
Up until that point, yes, I'll agree. Up until that point, yes, I'll agree. Can we also just admit, they should maybe give Ellsworth a match here or there? I mean, the way he took that rope bump, he fed it a little bit, but he didn't feed it too bad. As far as giving it away that he's taking that bump, but that's a difficult bump to take.
Yeah, and you know what, maybe. But let's be honest. The way Ellsworth's character is, he's not going to be taken seriously. He's probably going to go the way of Santino when all this stuff with Carmella falls apart. His match will probably be, and everybody's going to love seeing it, him getting his ass kicked by Becky Lynch.
I said that this week. I want that match. I want that intergender match. That should be the first intergender match that the WWE reintroduces us with. It's James Ellsworth versus Becky Lynch.
The only thing is, will they pull the trigger on it?
I hope so, because some of the intergender wrestling out there right now is so good.
As long as I don't see...
Flex.
Thank you, Jaime. Thank you so much. I was going to say, as long as I don't see a boobs and or balls plex, I'm good. Let's move along now.
What if a girl does the balls plex and a boobs plex and the guy does the balls plex? Are you okay with that?
You mean
Becky?
Hey, I'm not one to judge anybody for their preferences. If girls want to grab girls by the boobs, if guys want to, go down there with other guys and flip them, more power to them. If you can make it look believable, I'll watch.
Yeah, Becky's gonna hit Ellsworth with the balls floater.
Hold on, while we're on this subject, I just want you to know at Wrestle Circus this past weekend, Joey Ryan did the balls flip while the guy was setting up for a Canadian driver. So it was a balls flip into a Canadian driver.
So it was north of the border balls driver?
I guess so, yeah. I guess you could say that.
Or
it was pretty impressive.
A Toronto testicleplex?
There you go. That's a good one.
I like that. Toronto test. We'll call it the TTP. That. You're welcome, Joey Ryan. Anyway, if you looked at the quick hit section of the recaps we do for RealSport101.com, I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but I had some great ideas. Number one, and I want to get y'all's thoughts on this, the Fashion Police. They're never going to be a tag team champion, I don't think, as long as the Usos and the New Day are going to be this good. Why not give them their own show on the WWE Network? 30 minutes a week where they kind of unravel wrestling mysteries that never happened. Like, I don't know, what happened to Tony Chimmel's tie? Where is Big Dick Johnson? A missing persons file on Big Dick Johnson. I'd watch it. They'd find baby oil, a string of baby oil running into a seedy male strip club. Fandango says, this looks familiar, I think I used to work here. Stuff like that. It'd be fantastic. This should happen. Am I wrong?
No, I would watch it. I would enjoy it.
I think everybody would, to be honest.
I do like what they're doing with them, though. I don't know if they'll ever be tag champs, but both of those guys sure in the hell do deserve this run.
Well, it's probably, with the exception of maybe a match that is better than above average, it's the most entertaining thing on SmackDown.
I agree 100%. Do you guys have any theories on who it is? I have my theory.
Let's hear it.
I think it's Alpha. I think we're going to get heel American Alpha.
I don't know.
They finally reintroduced them last week. They were still baby faces, but I think we're going to get heel Alpha. I mean, apparently the colognes have been released.
What?
Really?
Yeah. Apparently the colognes have been released.
Wow, that's news to me.
I'm saying apparently because I found a source, but I haven't found like a reliable source, and it hasn't been announced on WWE yet. But yeah, from what I'm reading, they actually have been released. Orlando Colon has a shirt on Pro Wrestler Tees.
So there you go. For the first time probably ever, and maybe the only time, this is potential breaking news on the Caps Locks and Chair Shots podcast. You heard it here first. It may or may not happen. Now, both Raw and SmackDown have a musician, if you will, on their roster. Aiden English is on SmackDown. Elias Sampson is boring us to death on Raw. I'm not saying it should happen now, because it obviously shouldn't happen now. Sampson's too hot, and Aiden English needs to find his emotional barriers. Could we see Sampson and English join forces and give us beautiful music? I'm thinking they could do beautiful covers of Hall & Oates. Maybe even throw in some... No, Hall & Oates is probably the right thing. But still, should this happen? Hi,
I would love to see it at SummerSlam. Like, they have, like, one of them standing in the ring, and the other one just comes down and plays the... Like, Samson comes down and plays the guitar for English to sing. Or in Brooklyn, could you just imagine the huge... literally, I don't think we would be able to hear them through TV.
Or Samson is sitting in, can you all be quiet? I'm trying to play. He starts playing a song, and then English just comes out and starts singing, and they do a duet, looking into each other's eyes and realize this should happen. This is a band, and maybe you throw in Bo Dallas to beat on like a 5-gallon drum to be a drummer, and bam, we have the Raw band. I'm just saying.
The 3-man band? Man, it sounds like it's something they should do. It's never been done before.
I'm just saying, you look at the guys that were in 3MB. Look at the guys that were in 3MB. One of them's the WWE champion. Another one won the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And when they decide to do something with Drew Galloway in NXT, he's going to be good. Just saying. Just saying.
No, I agree. All three of those guys are great.
Jaime, we haven't heard your thought on it.
Or you can have them have their moment on Royal Rumble, because Samson's definitely going to enter with that guitar.
Oh. Ooh.
That's a good point. It's gotta happen though. They gotta do a duet at some point in time.
Or maybe, since we're fantasy booking here today,
that sounds 100% like Vince booking.
Right.
We're gonna have these guys sing together one time.
Hear me out. They introduced Samson, Bo Dallas, and Aiden English a month before the Royal Rumble. Okay? Now by this time, Jinder's lost the championship. out of the title picture. We have Galloway as a surprise entrant at number 14. And then Slater's already in there.
Oh, God.
We have 3 versus 3 in that Royal Rumble stare down. The old 3MB versus the new 3, I don't know, whatever B, we'll call them, or the 3BB or the 3 boy, I don't know, whatever. We'll have a different name for them. But it's 3 on 3 in the Royal Rumble, and they just go to town. Guitars get used. Like, can you imagine Elias Sampson sitting there strumming his guitar in the middle of it, and then Heath Slater is playing his air guitar in the middle of it? It would be fantastic.
Moving on.
Okay, fine. Moving on, it is. So, Impact. Do we want to talk about Impact?
What if Slater hit Sampson over the head with his air guitar?
It would have to depend on how much he gets sold.
Or they do a sword fight. Guitar sword fight.
Oh my gosh. That could be so terrible, it would be worth watching. Now, Dan, did you get a chance to watch Impact?
I did. I stayed up till like 2 a.m. watching that shit.
Jaime, did you?
Yep.
Am I the only one that thinks that's the worst Impact that I've seen in the last 6 months?
I kind of actually enjoyed it.
What did you enjoy? What was there to enjoy? The first 10 minutes of the show was a pre-taped contract signing where nobody threw a punch. Why? Why?
They wanted to be different from the WWE and not have people fight at the contract signing.
It wasn't just the WWE that's done this. When the NWA signs contracts, they were fighting. When WCW signs contracts, they were fighting.
I enjoyed the X Division tag match.
Yeah, that was the highest rated. Well, no, it wasn't. It was a good match, but let me ask you this: Swoggle, Rockstar Spud. Can somebody explain this to me? I mean, I'm glad that this is how they blew off the feud before it got to Slammiversary, and I'm not gonna probably pay for Slammiversary to watch what I just saw. But why? Why a midget referee? Why pants the midget referee? Why is Spud wearing a shiny G-string underneath his athletic shorts that aren't even real trunks? Why did he use chalk? Why did he throw golf balls at him? Did Swoggle get a concussion from the garbage can thrown at 1,000,000 miles an hour? These questions need to be answered. Anybody got...
Swoggle with a concussion? No, he got his hands up. I don't think Swoggle was expecting the can to come in that pass. No, I really don't.
I mean, you look at the second one, yeah, he got his hands up. But that first one looked legit.
You're talking about at the top of the ramp, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the top of the ramp, he got his hands up. Because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh my god, that had to hurt. And so I rewinded it, and I was like, oh, okay, he did get his hands. He got his hands up, like, right at the last second, though. Like literally, if he would have been a second later, like, if his reaction time would have been any slower, it would have been not good for Swoggle.
Okay, Jaime, talk to me about now when I can't even talk. When the Road Warriors did it, it was called what was that move called?
Doomsday Device.
The Doomsday Device. So I'm gonna call. I don't think it should be called the Doomsday Device. What's less than Doomsday? Like the skirmish machine? Should that be what it's called? Because if you look at it, with Spud on top of Hornswoggle's shoulders, all Spud had to do was straighten his knees. And he's standing up.
Yeah, I actually thought that.
I mean, I don't know. It just...
It was forced upon.
Yeah, it didn't work for me. Did it work for you?
Didn't.
Dan?
No, that match was horrible.
Speaking of horrible, I am not a fan of Allie. Really not a fan of Braxton Sutter. And
what? How are you not a fan of Allie? I mean, she's just so cute.
She's vegan.
That's a reason. Jaime's right, that's a reason. And ladies and gentlemen, just wanted to acknowledge him being here. Dan's dog is actually giving us a stronger opinion than Dan ever has. He is on the podcast right now. If you could get him to bark and say something, that'd be great, Dan.
She doesn't bark on the demand. She does want that food I just stuck down on the floor, though.
Very well. So we now got to give a credit to Dan's dog. Moving on. No, I'm not a fan of Allie because she acts like she's a 10-year-old excited to come down the stairs for Christmas. She dresses like an Easter egg. She's hot. She's gorgeous. But she dresses like a 12-year-old. Like there's something wrong with her. You know, I'm more of a Sienna person myself. And I don't know, maybe it's Patches trying to convert me, but...
Elvia.
Oh my gosh. I saw her on a picture of her on Twitter where she didn't look like a train wreck.
Yes.
Or she didn't look like the hot mess Laurel Van Ness, and there's some good stuff. Although I completely dislike KM whatsoever.
Same.
Although I really think they need to do a spot where he is in a one-on-one match, and he pins somebody and only gets a 2 count, and then argues with the referee saying it's 3, the ref says it's 2, and he goes, "Are you calling me a liar?" Since apparently that's his thing, and then he just destroys the referee. That should be something.
Like it's going to happen.
That should be something. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I dislike, I don't know, 4 of the 6 people in that match. I thought it was terrible. I really don't understand why this became an 8-man match for the main event. I get that they needed to do something with Mahabali Shera, and Congo Kong is the bad guy to thwart him. They could have had that match early in the show instead of that god awful contract signing. Instead of the 3 different video packages that we had with Joseph Park and Jeremy Borash. Although I'm excited we may see Abyss.
He's trying to find his inner monster.
Still, I don't think... just saying, they could have put another match in there instead of seeing that god-awfulness.
Did we get swerved on that, by the way? Is that going to be a no DQ match?
What do you... no, I mean, according to Matthews' commentary, he brought up the fact that you bring out... Oh, gosh...
Janice.
Thank you. You bring out Janice, and it's going to be a disqualification. So I assume. Yeah, it's...
but then JB was like, "Oh, you must have not read that contract."
Yeah, well, that's true.
That's why I'm saying, did we get swerved, and that's actually going to be a no DQ match, which I think would make that match a lot better. Because even though I like Steiner somewhat, I don't think he can go the way he used to be able to go.
You know what? I can say the exact same thing about Abyss.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
JB doesn't really have JB and Josh. Josh has some experience, but
hey, Josh is a classically trained wrestler who is going to be the first X Division champion back in 2002.
I wish I could mute you.
I'm just saying.
I wish I could mute you.
So. We have that, and you know what? Let's start breaking down Slammiversary right there with that match. Out of those 4, I'm not excited to see Scott Steiner. I'm not excited to see Abyss or Joseph Park or whatever he wants to call himself. I'm not excited, really, to see Jeremy Borash. I want to see what Josh Matthews tries to do.
I actually agree with you on that. I would like to see what Josh Matthews can do. Kind of want to know if he can go as much as he talks. I mean, I know he has some training, but maybe it would be a good way to convert him into a talent if that's what he wants to do.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about... Dan, do you want to do your indie section for 5 minutes? Because...
Nah, we're good.
I was going to say, there's 2 of the 4 tag teams in this tag team fatal 4-way for the Impact World and GFW Tag Team Championship. I have no idea who the hell they are. And I was hoping...
Trigo's the only big name.
Who is El Hijo del Fantasma? He's the son of Fantasma, obviously, but Anybody got anything for him? Anything?
AAA. He's a AAA guy.
Okay, so
out of Mexico.
So this is Impact using that talent sharing agreement. Okay. How about
Drago is probably the biggest name.
Drago.
How about Naomichi Faru Fuji and Taiji Ishimori?
They are Noah guys. They're pro wrestling Noah guys from Japan. Another one of their partnerships.
Talent sharing.
Okay.
Oh, here's one for you though. Just really quick, not trying to get too far off. Do you want to know something that I'm not sure if you know or not? If Impact ever does a Japan tour, Matt Sydal will not be on it.
Explain.
Matt Sydal is banned in Japan.
Why?
I believe for marijuana.
Yeah, he was smoking a marijuana vaporizer, I believe.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Now that y'all bring it up, and didn't he spend time in prison for that in Japan?
I believe so, and they sent his ass home, and he's banned in Japan. That's probably one of my favorite indie shirts. Is his banned in Japan shirt.
Well, and you know what? I would have guessed that from anybody other than Matt Sydal or Evan Bourne, whatever you want to call him. It's surprising. Let's just put it that way. Let's talk about Sanjay Dutt, Low-Key, X Division, 2 out of 3 falls. Jaime, give me your thoughts. What's going down here?
The usual. We're just going to see the same classic Sanjay Dutt versus Low-Key plus another fall. So that's, twice the good action.
Okay, Dan, what are your thoughts?
It's another match I'm really looking forward to. Those guys have great chemistry in the ring. It has a potential to be the show stealer, by far.
I don't think it's got the potential to be the show stealer. I think this is going to be the best match on the card.
Okay, so you're expecting this to be your 4 or 5 star match.
Honestly, the way Sanjay Dutt and Low-Key can go, I've given out one time above 5 stars. This could be time number 2. So
I can't disagree.
All right,
I just don't know if this match has gotten the hype it should. If that makes sense. Like,
I don't understand why, how you think that. It's literally let off. It's the first image we've seen every time. The very first step. I'm so flustered by that statement that it's amazing. It's the very first thing we've seen in Impact the last 3 weeks. Is Sanjay Dutt standing in the ring, either challenging Low-Key, holding the X Division title, or doing his celebration. It's the first thing we've seen. They're hyping it. It's getting video packages at least once a show. It's on their Twitter at least once, maybe twice a day. And wow.
I get what you're saying, Ed. You're good.
Thank you.
You're good.
Documentary. That's the word I was looking for. They can make a documentary about the 15 years of Sanjay Dutt trying to get there, Low-Key being his bigger brother, blah, blah, blah. It could be something fantastic.
I'm still trying to figure out why Low-Key dresses in a suit.
It's his gimmick, man.
Something new. He has to come up with something new.
At least take the jacket off.
Well, sometimes it happens. It only comes off for special occasions.
He reminds me of the IRS.
The important thing is he can perform in it.
Right to censor. The way his voice is, he could easily be the leader of Right to Censor 2.0.
Yeah.
I like that idea. I'm telling you guys, I should go work for the WWE. Just saying. Or even Impact. I could turn that show around. I could make Impact great. So, I don't know who's in charge over there at Anthem. Jeff Jarrett, if you got any pull. Karen Jarrett, I know you're a figurehead, but still, you can say something. Bruce Pritchard, Brother Love, I love you. Hire me. On that note, we are at the halfway point. There are a few pieces of business we have to take care of before we go any further. The senior editor of RealSport101.com, Gur Samuel, wanted me to remind you guys about Wimbledon starting this week, and Real Sport 101 is going to have extensive coverage of the grandest tournament in all of tennis. And we are also going to be recording at noon o'clock. Wow, that's fantastic. And I talk and do this, folks. At noon today, we are going to be recording the second ever episode of Sports du Jour. It will be myself and Dan. Except we will not be talking about baseball. It will be the NBA today. And joining us will be Rob Parks Jr. So you can find that on all the same media platforms. You can find the Caps Locks and Chair Shots podcast. That would be SoundCloud and right here on Real Sport. Now, Jaime, what do you got going on in your world this week?
I'm still occupied with training. I'm struggling to put up some mess. And as for Real Sport 101, check out previews for all the shows and the recaps for 205 Live and NXT. And also, okay, what was that? Kind of forgot what I was going. Okay, I'm starting to gather some names in NXT, some people under the radar. So I plan to write on guys you could watch out for. So I'm trying to dig some info on the Ely brothers because they've got potential. They got the size, they got the athleticism, they got the look of terror. So, yeah, watch out for them.
Alrighty. Now, Dan, per our arbitration agreement, I have to give you time to talk. This is your time to talk. What's going on in your world this week?
So, some exciting news for me. I have been medically cleared to start training again. So I will be getting back into the gym, start getting that cardio back going again, and I will be starting back at my school in September.
Fantastic, excellent news.
Can you sound a little more enthusiastic when I tell you I have good news? Like, can you just give me a little bit more enthusiasm?
Oh my God, Dan, that is fantastic! I am so excited for you. Yes.
Thank you.
Dick. Okay, now let's keep it going. Oh, well, hell, I still got to talk about myself yet. All right, here's what's going on.
How could you forget to do that?
I know. It's so hard to be humble when you're so perfect in every way. Anyway, what's going on with me? I am fully enveloped in covering just about everything I can get my hands on as far as Real Sport goes. We're doing the basketball Sports du Jour podcast this week. Next week's baseball. Now, of course, the schedule is always subject to change, but the week after that will be MMA, where we are going to fully break down Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, the possibility of a rematch, and everything that's going on. Dan, I know you hate it. I think it's going to be the spectacle among spectacles until the first bell rings. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. You can also find all of the recaps for the 3 major wrestling shows, 2 in the WWE, 1 in Impact this week on Real Sport. And you may or may not be able to find me doing the Slammiversary preview and recap this week. Still in talks to try to find a way to watch that. Anyway, what we got left for the rest of the show before we say sayonara, we're going to finish breaking down the Slammiversary card, and then it'll be the first of a 5-part series where we are going to unveil the top 50 wrestlers as voted by the writers of Real Sport. So, Dan, why don't you talk to me about the Alicia and Eddie Edwards versus Davey Richards, Angelina Love Full Metal Mayhem match?
That's what I have to say. I was done with this feud, like 2 months ago? Go back and, if we go back and listen, I was done with this feud, 2 months ago. Oh, I really hope this is the full blow-off. Like, this has to be the blow-off. I don't care who wins. Let these guys do what they do best and stop. Even though they have great chemistry, stop with this. This is so done. I'm so done. I was the bad. Jaime, what do you think?
Yeah, same. I agree. As much as they do good in the ring, it's just getting old.
All right. Now, let's talk about the next match on the card. D'Angelo Williams and Moose taking on Chris Adonis, Eli Drake. I wasn't a fan of D'Angelo Williams when he was playing football. I like him less as a wrestler. And the sad thing is, Eli Drake and Chris Adonis are probably going to lose this match to a guy who's never wrestled before and a guy in Moose who I think has one of the dumbest crowd interaction moves ever with a reverse fist pump, I guess, is if you want to call it that. With when he says his name, I don't like it. Jaime,
This is probably the match I'm most excited for.
Care to explain that there, Danny boy?
I want to see what D-Will can do. You know I'm a Ravens fan, and he was just with the Steelers, but I still want to see what he can do.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't a fan of him on the field, but I'm interested to see how many bumps he takes, if he takes any, what his type of move repertoire is like. Like, is this something he might pursue seriously to get away from the NFL?
Well,
he's still a free agent.
Yeah, but nobody's going to sign him.
At least not right now.
He's an over-the-hill running back for a team that he shared carries in the backfield with, and he has problems just about everywhere in his life, whether it's performance-enhancing drugs or regular drugs. I'm sorry, D'Angelo Williams probably going to be if he wants to continue his athletic career, he's probably going to be in a wrestling ring.
Then I'm perfectly fine with that if he's going to train properly.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what he can do.
You know, I'm shocked to hear that from you, because you're one of these indie guys, and you're all about guys paying their dues, and starting in the indies and then working their way up. And this guy is gonna just jump right into a big match at a big show for and I'm gonna say it again, second biggest wrestling company in America, and you're okay with that?
Yeah, I am all about guys paying their dues, but. I mean, if I don't know. I mean, he won me a couple championships 2 years ago, so I'm rooting for the guy.
You're okay with D'Angelo Williams being at Slammiversary and a guy like Magnus not. Matt Morgan not appearing at Slammiversary. You're okay with that?
It's a one-off. I mean, I don't have an issue with it. No, like I have no issue. They have to do something to try to draw in more fans. And having D'Angelo Williams on that card, if that gets them 2 or 3 extra buys, and that gives them 2 or 3 extra fans a week, then maybe it's worth it to them.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Jaime, what are your thoughts? Are you okay with seeing D'Angelo Williams Slammiversary and a guy like a Magnus not being there?
Okay, to answer your question, pretty much, yeah, fine, because Magnus has been gone for a while, so there's no really sense just inserting him out of the blue. For D'Angelo Williams, seeing his video package, his training videos, there's actually a good chance that he will be the best performer in that match.
Okay. I don't agree with you at all. I think Eli Drake is probably the best one out of them, but each his own opinion.
Let's not just grace over that hot take by Jaime there. That's a pretty hot take. To say he's going to be the best performer in the match, that's a pretty hot take.
You said hot take 3 different times. Originally being that myself and the co-creator of this podcast have flaked on us after one episode, Bino Machino we're both big guys. Originally, this podcast was going to be hot cakes and hot takes, and we were going to eat pancakes and talk wrestling. So, I mean, there's still a possibility hot cakes and hot takes could happen. Anyway, beside the point, yeah, Jaime, that, it's too early in the morning, to be honest. I'm not on my A game today. But you seriously think D'Angelo Williams is going to outperform three guys Moose is the grand champion. Adonis is, a 15-year veteran of wrestling, and Eli Drake's one of the best in Impact right now. You're going to stick with that?
Because D'Angelo Williams, just based on his video package of his training, he might perform better than Moose. Adonis has always been limited. And as for Eli Drake, his psychology revolves around his talking and little moves. Right? But I know Eli Drake can perform, but if the Eli Drake that performs in the ring is what shows up on Slammiversary, then he's going to be the best performer of that match. But given his how he handles the in-ring psychology, where he runs his mouth more than he really wrestles, I think that's how D'Angelo Williams will have a chance to show what he's got.
Very well. Now we come to our first unification match, and that is Rosemary, the Impact Women's Champion, or Knockouts Champion, I guess, and Sienna, the GFW Women's Champion, one-on-one. The two were going at it on Twitter last night, and it was very entertaining. I am a huge Sienna fan. Don't really like Rosemary. Jaime, give me a winner.
I think I'm going with... it's hard to pick a winner because Sienna has looked strong in the past few weeks, and Rosemary, I don't know what's her life after the title run. I really can't decide right now, but just for my personal preference, just because I like the Dataron character, I'll go with Rosemary.
Dan, your choice?
I think it has to be Rosemary. Sienna can survive. Great might work, great in the ring. She can be back in that title picture with no problem. But I think Rosemary's one of those, to stay strong, she needs the belt. But I also don't know, her contract situation, if she's going to be leaving soon. So
could we see Rosemary come to the WWE and bring the Hive and reunite with Crazy Steve? How big of a feud would it be to have Rosemary and Crazy Steve versus Mike and Maria Kanellis?
Oh my God, I love them.
Yeah.
I hate Mike and Maria. Just throwing it out there. Hate Mike and Maria.
I love it.
Speaking of things that I hate, James Storm will be taking on Ethan Carter III in a strap match. Ethan Carter III is my favorite Impact wrestler. I don't understand James Storm's character. He's from Tennessee, trying to be a Texan, apologizes about luck. He doesn't drink beer anymore, is that right? I haven't seen him with a beer in 2 months. I don't like his cowboy hat.
He's a bottle.
He was in an indie show here, actually, and he did come to the ring with beer, so that might be an Anthem thing.
I don't like the fact that he's got a hipster cowboy hat. James Storm sounds like he how do I want to say this? James Storm looks like he listens to Sam Hunt's country music. That kind of, it's country because they released it in the country genre, but really it's more like pop or rap or even rock. I feel like that's what James Storm listens to, when his character should be listening to Waylon Jennings and Brooks and Dunn and stuff like that, not, Sam Hunt. But that's my tangent.
I'm so sorry about your boy. He is getting whipped, literally, all around that ring Sunday night.
Jaime, do you agree? Ethan Carter III's losing this match?
There's actually a rumor that he's going back to the WWE, so this might be his farewell.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, that's more breaking news. What the hell is going on with this podcast? We went from being strictly entertaining to now we're breaking news on this podcast? I can't deal. I can't deal with this. After the promo he cut on Impact last night, I really don't understand how that's going to happen. If it does, fantastic, as long as he can stay being Ethan Carter III, and they don't try to give him...
That's not happening. I'm sure that is fucking copyrighted in every single way.
Okay, I'm not saying you call him Ethan Carter III or even EC3, but is E-Sing 3 copyrighted?
Oh my god!
It's going to be terrible.
It may be terrible if he calls himself E-Sing 3, but I'm just saying his character, he's JBL 2.0.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he definitely can keep the character. I would just be curious to know what they're going to do with the name. But no, wow, I mean, that might actually make my day if that comes true. Whatever day that happens, that would make my day.
Okay, well...
I read an article that the WWE is interested in signing him again. So, there you have it.
Well, Hugh Morris, or whatever, Bill DeMott, or whatever you want to call him, Hugh G. Rection, whatever, is not... That was his character name, I kid you not. It was Hugh G. Rection. General Rection. Anyway... He's not in the Performance Center anymore, so maybe he won't get bullied this time. But, I mean, it's the WWE and they're naming people. What's saying he couldn't be named Carter Ethan IV? Just throwing that out there. Everybody would know. Like Bryan Danielson, just saying, I'd love to see EC3.
Well, Bryan Danielson's his real name.
Well,
so
yeah, but, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time.
Wait, is that EC3's real name?
No.
No, it's Michael Hutter.
Okay, sorry.
Well, Michael Hutter III still doesn't sound bad. I'm just saying.
Michael
Hutter III? Wait, is that going to be Triple H's illegitimate child?
Don't tempt
No, it's
me.
not Hunter. It's Hutter.
Yeah, Hutter. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, Hutter.
Oh, man, that would be fantastic.
I just gave I'm waiting for the rant, the fantasy booking rant.
Expect this to be on the dust sheet, rumor mill, completely for parody next week. Or not next week, it's going to be... I guess we'll do one for Battleground, maybe even wait till SummerSlam, but that will be on there. We already covered the abomination that's going to be Abyss, Big Papa Pump, a guy that failed in NXT, and a former WCW announcer. Anybody got one last say on that?
I'm sorry about your damn luck.
But who are you apologizing to?
I'm apologizing to Matthews and Steiner because they're losing.
You think?
No, they're not. Scott Steiner's not coming back to fucking lose. Not unless Matthews takes the pin and then Steiner gets to
beat the hell out of Josh Matthews?
Yeah.
Just gonna say, there was a conference call that I got to hear a snippet of. Steiner, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Steiner goes rogue.
Yeah, I want you to send that to me, by the way.
You gotta talk to Gurr about that one, buddy.
Alright.
Anyway, so, Jaime, you got any last thing you want to say about the abomination that's gonna be a co-main event?
Co-main event, which he... Oh, yeah, the Steiner and...
Yeah.
Steiner thing. I think they're not going to tease a no disqualification match. That's why they brought out that... What's the name of that?
Janice.
Nail thingy? Janice. They brought out Janice to tease. It's Abyss that's coming out instead of Joseph Park.
What if we see Joseph Park halfway through the match, get knocked out of the ring and off camera, and then he reaches out of the ring, pulls out the mask, and becomes Abyss halfway through the match? Borash, he's getting beaten down by Scott Steiner, and Steiner tags in Matthews, and Matthews taunts him, and he gets back in the ring, and you see Borash just continually berate him, and then finally just slaps him in the face. Find your inner monster! Steiner gets tagged back in, Abyss goes to the outside, Steiner and Matthews are celebrating. Maybe even they take out JB at ringside, and then all of a sudden you see Park come back up as Abyss with the half mask, and Janice coming out, and Matthews craps his pants, and then Steiner goes after him. He drops Janice, but Abyss just takes out Scott Steiner, and then we see Abyss take out Josh Matthews, and then Jeremy Borash hits a leg drop or something, and that's how the match ends. God, that's the only way it can be watchable, right?
Interesting enough.
However, the match
is on the Impact roster.
Yeah, however the match goes, I'm predicting an Abyss appearance.
So
I feel like he has to.
I'm going to make that my prediction for the match. I'm 2 for 2 with the women's Money in the Bank. This is what I'm going for. I'm shooting for 3 for 3. Let's hope the batting average stays perfect. Now, the main event of the evening will feature the GFW Global Champion. I guess they're not calling him a world champion. They're calling him a global champion. Alberto El Patron with his father, Dos Caras, taking on Bobby Lashley, the Impact World Heavyweight Champion, and King Mo. Lashley wins, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I actually don't want to call this match.
I mean, I can see it going either way. You're not going to bring in Dos Caras for El Patron to lose in front of his dad, in front of the Mexican wrestling legend that is Dos Caras. You don't want to destroy what Lashley has built in the last 4 or 5 months.
Well, the difference for that match is going to be the appearance of King Mo and Dos Caras. So whatever happens with their own cornermen, that's going to be the difference of the match.
Okay.
I wonder if King Mo's still under contract.
He isn't on the roster.
That's true. He's not, but...
And to be fair, I didn't check the Impact website. I checked the most reliable source for wrestling spoilers and roster news, Wikipedia. Not on there. So I think this could be just a one pay per appearance kind of thing, which in that case, kind of leaning toward El Patron, but I think Lashley wins this match. Jaime, who you got?
Well, I'll go with Lashley.
Dan, you still too close? Or you want to just throw a name out there?
I will take El Patron with the interference of a masked female wrestler who is very pale and has a slight British accent.
She is still on the WWE roster, and
it's a masked wrestler. What do you mean she's on the WWE roster?
I don't.
Just because I'm describing somebody that might sound like Paige, doesn't mean it has to be Paige. She'll be masked. She'll have a mask on.
Buddy, no. They're not even going to risk it. I guarantee you Paige is nowhere near Orlando on Sunday.
Oh, I guarantee you she's backstage. I guarantee you she's backstage.
No.
I guarantee you she lives in Orlando. So she's just around the area.
I guarantee you she's backstage at that show. But anyway, I am taking El Patron. I don't think they're gonna bring his father in for him to lose.
I think she might be called into the Performance Center for some extra training for about 4 hours from 6 to 11. Or 6 to 10 that night. So, anyway.
It's a very WWE thing to do.
We're running out of time, and I wanted to spend more time on this, but it's only 50 to 41. So let's talk about the top 50 wrestlers that the writers of Real Sport have voted on. At number 50, Davey Boy Smith. Anybody got a problem with that?
No.
Davey Boy Smith finished ahead of the Big Show by a grand total of 0.5 of a point on average, which means if two people would have put Big Show in their top 40, he would have been ahead of Davey Boy Smith. Moving on to number 49, Antonio Inoki. The sumo wrestler, the Japanese big man, had a match with Muhammad Ali. Big name overseas. He's number 49. Thoughts?
He's only number 49 because of the market he was. He made wrestling big in the Eastern Hemisphere. So, had he been on a bigger stage, maybe he could have been ranked higher.
Very true. First little bit of controversy right here. Number 48 is Goldberg. Anybody got a problem with that?
Just how?
How? He was left off of ballots. Ooh, damn. 6 of the 12 ballots he was left off of, and he wasn't put in the top 25 on 10 of the 12. One person had him ranked 9th, I believe that was me, and one person had him ranked 23rd. Other than that, not a lot of Goldberg fans apparently right for Real Sport.
I can't remember if I ranked him or not.
You did not, Dan.
That's about right.
I didn't as well.
No, neither of you did. At number 47, Shinsuke Nakamura.
I feel like he should be higher.
Well, you were in the minority. He was left off of 9 ballots.
That's crazy to me. He's done in Japan?
He was
he's done in Japan?
Yeah, he was number 10.
For Inoki.
Yeah, that's very true. Inoki has done more in Japan than Nakamura has. He was in the top 10 on one ballot and number 12 on another, which basically put him. Yeah, that's right. Which basically put him in the top 50. Let's see, let me count here. 50, 49, 48. At number 46, and I didn't even have these guys on my list. They were added after I voted, and that is the Young Bucks. As a tag team, the Young Bucks. 3-time Ring of Honor tag team champions. They are number 46.
They've changed the game completely. They deserve to be on there. In a couple of years, they will deserve to be higher in a top 50 list. 100%. If they go to WWE or not. They have completely changed marketing. They've changed everything about the game in wrestling.
They were left off of 8 ballots, and the only reason they are even that high is because somebody put them at number 3 on their ballot.
That wasn't me.
No, I believe...
That was not me.
I believe it was one of the editors we have in a different section, whose name rhymes with what Alberto El Patron tries to call his opponent this week. So, screw you, Toby. Thank you for screwing it up. At number 45, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, the murderer, the man who flew off the cage. He's at number 45. Thoughts?
I'm fine with that.
I have no issue with that.
Very well, let's move on. This guy's ranked higher than him, Kevin Nash.
I'm completely okay with that.
Big Daddy Diesel?
Yeah, I mean, they started to destroy kayfabe. They're the reason. That's when kayfabe started to die.
I mean, you think his quads can hold out being in this spot on the list? ESPN doesn't agree with you.
ESPN can go screw themselves.
Whoa! Hey!
Hey.
Let's.
I am the worldwide leader in sports, not ESPN. Me.
Dan, you're the worldwide leader in eating. There's a difference.
Okay, stop confusing me.
Zing! That joke. Moving on. Ravishing Rick Rude is next on the list. He comes in at number 43. Never a world champion.
Fine.
Sure.
His work there.
Say that again, Jaime?
His work's enough to put him there. Because he didn't become a champion, but yeah, his work's enough to put him on the rankings.
Speaking of a guy that never became champion but is probably too low on this list, at number 42, Owen Hart.
It's hard to say he's too low. I know he had a tragic ending, but...
I kind of swore I ranked him higher.
Yeah, you did, but he was left off of 4 different ballots that dropped him down. The thing about Owen, I think he should have been a little higher on this list because I've seen the people that are higher that we will unveil in the next couple of weeks, but Owen Hart...
I left him off mine, actually.
You did. Owen Hart should have... If he doesn't fall in Kansas City, he gets a world title shot. He gets a world title run, probably.
Does he get it as Owen, though?
I don't think he gets it as a Blue Blazer. But I think he would have been a much bigger star. Maybe not in the WWE. Maybe he would have gone to WCW.
That's a possibility.
You know, it's tragedy struck here, and he should have been higher. But let's move to number 41 before we cover some of the names that didn't make it. Bob Backlund is number 41 on this list. Champion for a ridiculous amount of time in the WWE, had a career resurgence in the 90s. Crossface chicken wing was his thing. It's been used all over the world and in many other places. Had a big career overseas as well. Anybody got a problem with Bob Backlund being at 41?
Hold on, I have a problem with what you said.
What's that?
It's been used all over the world in many other places. Where else has it been used besides all over the world?
Well, what you don't know is we have made contact with extraterrestrials. Extraterrestrials that live on the planet Xenu. And if you're a Scientologist, you kind of know what I'm talking about here. Big professional wrestling fans where some of the body feetings that... I'm not going to go into it, but basically aliens are huge wrestling fans. Bob Backlund was a god to them. Okay? So,
him.
There you go, smartass.
51.
All right, now, he's at number 41. People that didn't make it, we already talked about the Big Show being at number 51. Ted DiBiase was at 52. And something that brought me a sincere amount of pleasure. Okada and Omega didn't make the list, thank the Lord.
Yes.
Also, people
I disagree with Omega, but Okada's meh to me.
Also, the people that did make the list: The Miz, Batista, El Generico, which included his mentor Sami Zayn, because there is a rumor that they are kind of the same person, so I included them together. Dean Malenko, may he rest in peace. Dean Malenko didn't make the list. Terry Funk, Big Van Vader was outside the top 50. JBL, Christopher Daniels, Cody Rhodes, RVD, Dynamite Kid, just skipping down some other names, Cesaro, Mr. Wonderful, Bobby Roode, Lance Storm, Pat Patterson, the first ever Intercontinental Champion, the Sergeant Slaughter, Double J, Jeff Jarrett didn't make it, Mil Mascaras, in what I feel is a huge miscarriage of justice, didn't make the list. Vern Gagne should have gotten some consideration. JYD, the Honky Tonk Man, Sid Vicious, Goldust. Okay. Now, there were, let me check this out, 3 guys that didn't get any votes. One of them is terrible. Like, the guy should have gotten voted higher. It's just the fact that he wasn't known in North America, and that's Carlos Colon, the patriarch of the Colon family. The other one was an NWA champion, and the other one will be appearing in Slammiversary on Sunday. Anybody want to take a guess on who they are?
Scott Steiner.
Is correct. Think back. Think back. He's from Oklahoma. He runs a body shop. Jack Briscoe, guys. Jack Briscoe. Come on.
Oh,
I thought the body shop thing would give it away. Come on now.
I thought of every name except Jack Briscoe, sorry.
Now, guys that did get votes, Lex Luger got a vote. Bam Bam Bigelow got a vote. The Hardy Boys were ranked in the 90s on this list.
That's crazy to me.
Now, it could be because they were added late in the voting process.
I think I added them.
Yes, you did, Dan. And you also voted them 46th, so you have nobody to blame but yourself.
I mean, I could have put them 1 and just completely ruined your list.
Kerry Von Erich, Pentagon, thank God, and Sid Vicious. Sid Vicious is ranked higher on this list than the Hardy Boys and Kerry Von Erich. And you know why that is? Do you know why that is? And I brought this name up specifically because of Jaime. Jaime was the only person that had him on his ballot. And because where he had him on his ballot, he voted him higher. And that's why he is higher than Pentagon, Goldust, Kerry Von Erich, the Hardys, Bam Bam Bigelow, Lex Luger, Carlos Colon, Jack Briscoe, and Scott Steiner. So we can all thank Jaime for putting Sid Vicious ahead of those gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
All right, but that will end our show for this week. Went a little bit over, but that's okay. Now, for those of you that still don't know who we are, thank you for tuning into the Caps Locks and Chair Shots podcast. You can find all three of us and all of our work on Real Sport. If you want hockey quizzes, you came to the right place. If you want wrestling quizzes, you came to the right place. If you want somebody who may or may not know what they're talking about, talk way too much about Jonathan Scope and the Orioles, go to Dan. If you want somebody talking about 205 Live and the Cruiserweights and NXT and the future of the WWE, go to Jaime. If you want the best writing you will ever read, you look for me. But folks, that's all the time we have on the Caps Locks and Chair Shots podcast. Thank you all for listening, and as always, if you're not down with us, Dan Dorrit, he's got 2 words for you.
Keep listening.